Eine 56-jährige Britin ist auf der indonesischen Ferieninsel Bali wegen Drogenschmuggels zum Tode verurteilt worden. Sie war im Mai am Flughafen mit knapp 5 Kilo Kokain erwischt worden. Die Polizei bestand bei der Festnahme darauf, dass sie wie geplant die Drogen an ihre Kontaktmänner weitergibt. So wurden 3 weitere Briten und ein Inder festgenommen. Die Polizei hält die Frau für die Chefin eines Schmugglerrings. Vor Gericht hatte die Britin erklärt, ihre Kinder seien bedroht und sie selbst zum Schmuggel gezwungen worden. Obwohl die Staatsanwaltschaft nur 15 Jahre Haft forderte, verhängten die Richter die Todesstrafe. Der Anwalt der Frau will gegen das Urteil vorgehen. Indonesien hat strenge Gesetze gegen Drogenschmuggel. Todesstrafen werden jedoch oft in Haftstrafen umgewandelt.
Lindsay June Sandiford is proven guilty of committing criminal acts of importing narcotic type 1 with weight more than 5 grams. The sentence is death penalty.
Menjatuhkan pidana terhadap terdakwa tersebut oleh karenanya dengan pidana mati.
Yes, well, we know that Lindsay Sandiford, who's a 56-year-old woman from Teesside, was arrested in May when customs officers at Bali's airport found almost 4 kilograms of cocaine in her luggage. Now, she's been in prison in Bali ever since while her case is being heard. And today, in the last few minutes, we've heard that an Indonesian court has sentenced her to death for drug smuggling to the island, which is a popular holiday destination. Now, we're hearing from the court that the judge said, "We found Lindsay Sandiford convincingly and legally guilty for importing narcotics and have sentenced the defendant to death." Now, this is quite a surprise because prosecutors had earlier recommended a 15-year jail sentence. And because Mrs. Sandiford had complied with all the regulations of the court, she had gone along with everything that was asked of her in terms of providing evidence, that perhaps the judges were going to be lenient and were going to sentence her to a jail sentence rather than death. So this has certainly been a big surprise that she is now being sentenced to death. She's not the only one who's been caught up in this particular case. 2 other Britons have already been sentenced by the same court. Paul Beals, who's a 40-year-old, he was jailed for 4 years for possessing cannabis, and also Rachel Dougal, who's a 39-year-old mum who lives on Bali. She was sentenced to 12 months in jail for failing to report a crime. And a 4th Briton as well, Rachel Dougal's partner, he too is on trial. But it was understood that Lindsay Sandiford had helped police with their inquiries when it came to a drug ring on Bali and operating out of Bali. And because of her help in the police investigation, perhaps the judges were going to be more lenient, but clearly that's not the case. However, having said that, there will now be a very long and protracted appeal. So I think this case is far from over.
Okay, so the prosecutors had recommended a 15-year jail sentence. She complies with helping the prosecution, and this is the result. She gets a death sentence handed to her. And we hear, Jonathan, if it is implemented, it would be by firing squad.
Yeah, that is the usual way. I mean, we know that Indonesia has incredibly strict laws when it comes to the possession of drugs and also, of course, the smuggling of drugs. Their laws are some of the toughest in the world. There is very little leniency given. We had a case recently where a teenager from Australia was on holiday in Bali with his family. He bought a tiny bit of cannabis from someone on the street. He was arrested, and despite just being a young child, was put in prison for a number of weeks and also put on trial despite his age and the fact that he was on holiday. So they do have very tough laws, and as you say, if someone is found guilty and is sentenced to the death penalty, then it is by firing squad.